people want to say, oh, it's fine, who cares, no big deal, everyone's going through that, everyone feels that, oh, you look fine. Thank you. This is deeper than that. Hi, my favorite people. Welcome back to Therapy Thursday, where every single Thursday I learn lessons from my own therapy sessions and I share them with all of you. I am so excited to be putting this on YouTube. So every single Thursday, you all know on my Instagram at kellyufit, I do a Therapy Thursday series where every single Thursday I have a topic that's specific about like anxiety, depression, body image, eating disorders, also building healthier relationships, getting out of toxic relationships, all things for caring for the self, inner feelings, inner thoughts, and how to actually apply that in real life. Today, we are going to talk about weight gain. Specifically, also how hard it is to deal with your relationship with your body and your relationship with your food when you're stressed and anxious, but also just normally, like in life, we all have struggles surrounding those things at certain points in our lives. Not everyone, but maybe. And today, we are going to answer the question, I gained weight, what do I do? Also, listen, you deserve to have someone to talk to and validate your feelings and process all this stuff. You deserve that individualized attention, care, and support. I would not be able to talk about any of these things or survive. Frankly, I wouldn't be alive if I didn't start therapy. So if you don't have a therapist right now, or you have one, you don't like them or whatever, during this time, we deserve support. So the link is below, 10% off your first month of therapy with BetterHelp. It's this online website where they have therapists in your area that you can get linked with. Obviously, we can't see them in person, but you get to call them, FaceTime them, chat with them, message them. And I have this link below where you'll get 10% off your first month of therapy, 10% off. And for me, I have video calls every single week with my therapist as the COVID has changed the way we live right now. So please, if you want, the link is below, 10% off your first month of therapy with BetterHelp. And I really hope you try it. Therapy is my favorite freaking moment of every single week, genuinely. Today, we are going to answer the question, I gained weight, what do I do? When I even say that question to myself, I think, okay, first question, have you been worrying about weight gain recently? Yes or no? See, usually on Instagram, this is where you guys would tap yeah or nah, or kinda or nah. And maybe, I know I have. I know that because of COVID and all of us making sure that we are keeping everyone in the world safe by staying home, now we might feel a little bit trapped and we don't have outlets like going to the gym, going to work out, or any of our normal routines that help us feel grounded. And also, we're at home a lot where there's a lot of food, and guess what? You all know me, the binge eating queen. I've struggled with binge eating since I was like 10. I'm 26 now. Obviously, I've done like 6 years of therapy and still go every single week to help with that. But anyway, what I'm saying is that now we're at home all the time and we're stressed and anxious and we might not have anything else to do. So what are we doing? Eating a lot of food. There's guilt and shame that can surround both of these things, not doing super well with your body, which is not what that means. It doesn't mean that you're doing badly if you're not working out and your body's getting softer. It doesn't mean that's bad. And then we also have worries, anxieties, guilt, and shame, possibly, about our eating behaviors. And guess what? The second question is, would it really be the worst thing in the whole world if you gained weight right now? Obviously, no. A lot of people would answer no, but I do think that people who struggle with these kinds of things might feel that way. Sometimes your body changing and you messing up feels like you're messing up and it's a sin and it's awful and it's all your fault, and you can often spiral into this pool of self-hate. So then what do you do when you're angry with yourself about overeating or gaining weight or eating too much or doing too little? I'm putting quotations around all these things because those are judgment phrases. I don't want you to keep saying these as facts to yourself and then doing the self-hate and self-blame to then think that's how you're going to cope with this. That's how you're going to start doing the healthy lifestyle that you think you should be doing. That's really what it is. There's this ideal of how we're supposed to be living, super fit and never binging and never struggling and always looking perfect and not depending on food to cope. For me, at least, that has not at all been my reality. Food has been something that's always soothed me, been there for me, helped me cope with a lot of things. Obviously, my attachment to it has historically been far too severe and led me to spiral into several eating disorders that put me in a really scary place. But it doesn't mean that I made so many mistakes and that I should be ashamed. So I don't ever want you to feel embarrassed, ashamed about those things, but also those are normal human emotions. And as you process those and find all the self-love and self-compassion and self-care and forgiveness in the air to give yourself every single day, that's how the idea of weight gain during this time doesn't completely crush your soul. But sometimes it really can. And I just want you to know that you are understood and validated through this, even if people want to say, oh, it's fine, who cares, no big deal, everyone's going through that, everyone feels that, oh, you look fine. Thank you. This is deeper than that. There are deep feelings and attachments to certain body ideals, certain ways you want to be, certain ways you don't want to be. So sometimes at some point you have to and deserve to validate yourself and talk to yourself through these things that only you really know, only you really are going through it. But I'm glad that we can have this here. I'm gonna look at my notes real quick. Okay, so the question, I gained weight, what do I do? Do you really have to do something? Do you need to fix that? Have you really made a mistake by your body changing, you eating more, you depending on food when you're stressed? Do you really need to beat yourself up and fix it? No, you are not broken. You are not a mistake. You have not messed up. I understand that that sheds light on the fact that we might be going back to coping mechanisms. I know in the last week, what I just talked about in my therapy session like an hour ago, was I feel like I'm reverting back to when I was in college and had severe binge eating disorder where it took over my life. And she was like, you have to understand that right now you don't feel grounded at all. You don't have any sense of safety and security because the world doesn't really have that right now. 3, I'm also realizing a lot about toxic relationships and things in my family and a lot of feelings that I have with traumas of my past. You won't probably know a little bit, but as you unearth a lot of feelings during this time where we don't have a lot of distractions, a lot of feelings and scary things will come up. So what do we do? What do I do? I kind of grab some food to feel like a warm hug. And do I really need to hate on myself for that? Do I really need to automatically change that and be like, what's wrong with you? How could you do this? How could you go back in time? I am not going back in time. You are not messing up. You are not bringing back your old self. You need to understand and give yourself that lovely understanding that of course this is happening. And it's not enabling, it's not giving yourself permission to just be like a lazy loser. You're not a lazy loser. You're coping in the best way that you can. And since now you recognize this, we can work on healthier coping mechanisms. So, I don't want this video to be all about, okay, you have all these struggles and now we're gonna fix them. It's like everything I just talked about right there, that's that inner work that will help you fix the behaviors. Not that you have to fix them, but understanding the deep, rooted causes and contributors to what is creating the behaviors for you, whether it be restricting. It's not just about shoveling about a lot of food. We want to feel in control. So we might push food away and try to feel hungry, and that makes us feel really in control. We might over-exercise and feel like, okay, this is how I keep my routine because I don't have a gym, so I'm going to do this. It can be all these different things. It's not just a specific type of behavior that qualifies you to find compassion for yourself. Whatever inner turmoil and struggle you're having, obviously it's not all of you and you're not having this horrible crises, but I also want to validate that it does affect you. I know this does affect me, and as I go through the world, talk to people, I don't want to feel like this part of me is something I'm hiding and feeling ashamed of and burying. So the way to have healthier coping mechanisms is acknowledging what's happening internally. And it doesn't have to be a deep, negative investigation of yourself. It can be like, hey, I'm looking at you and I actually want to get to know you, because guess what? When you're binge eating, you are the one doing it. And whoever you think this monster you've turned into is, like, that's just you. And we want to get to know her. We want to get to know him. We want to get to know them. You know, for the person who's running 10 miles and people might like jokingly see like, oh, that's so ridiculous. Or I know I've in the past called myself like a psycho, and like we are very used to making jokes about our behaviors and then self-deprecating. That's fine, but when you're alone and struggling in these moments, let's try to change that. And it won't happen overnight, but when you're struggling the most, that's when you need yourself the most. And dissociation from the self is strongest at the times when we're struggling, because we feel these emotions and these intense feelings and wanting to binge or wanting to be like, you know, whatever urges you have, wanting to text your ex, I don't know. Just, that's when you need to be there for yourself. And when I struggle like often. Like every night I'll at least talk to myself and go, hey, like I'm just checking in with you. Are you all right? And see how different that is from don't binge tonight. You know, I hope you don't binge. You better not binge. Don't mess up today. There's a big difference between threatening yourself to change or encouraging yourself to change. Threatening yourself to change by saying you better not binge. You better not over-exercise today, you better not mess up, is completely different than, hey, I hope you don't binge today, but it's not because you should be ashamed, it's because I know it doesn't make you feel really good. So how can I help you? How can I be here for you? What should we check in with? Like, how can I hold you? And this stuff, when I started therapy, I'd be like looking at my therapist like, are you kidding me? Like, you sound ridiculous. Like, why, how could I ever even like talk to myself? That sounds very like childish. And the point is, we deserve to coddle ourselves like children, like your inner child. Like, I hear people talk about that and then I hear people joke about it, but this is all very genuine, honest, and true. We have so much in us that needs our love and attention and care, and we live in such a fast-paced world that we don't do that. And also, it's still not super encouraged to dive into our emotions. Obviously, we're lucky that times have changed, but this deeper stuff is only things that I've learned in therapy. Oh, the link is below. 10% off your first month of therapy with BetterHelp, and I really hope you try it. Therapy is my favorite freaking moment of every single week, genuinely. I'm really glad that we could talk about this together. I love you so much, and I'm sending you, your family, your friends, all of my love and support. And let me know the topics. First of all, let me know your feelings and thoughts during this time in the comments. Like, just feel free to express yourself, because this really is a safe space. I want it to be a safe space, and I think especially we all need those safe spaces and places to express ourselves and get into our feelings, because that's already happening inside of us. Like, we are having these thoughts, we are having these urges, we are having these struggles. So not talking about them also really fascinates me. It's like, well, this is happening in my brain 24/7. So when I talk to my friend, I'm just going to ignore all that stuff. It's very interesting. I love you all so much. I'm so happy that I'm with you on this YouTube journey again. And I will see you next Therapy Thursday. See you soon. Bye.